So, how you doing? Now it's a trick question. Strangely enough, the facial recognition thing on my cell phone thought that this was a face. More than this. Got it worked out. Now I was watching watching my fetish setup in the living room, watching the election results last Tuesday night into Wednesday morning in Europe. And finally, when it got to be around here, around like 7:30 in the morning, I was still awake. I was still watching the results coming in, TV, internet, lots of formats, and it was time for my wife to get up and go to work. She's a high school teacher, and I actually hid. I went into my room and I turned the lights down and I put pillows under the door because I couldn't face her. I couldn't say. I literally refused. I said, I will not be the bearer of bad news. And I pretended I was asleep to not have to give her the information. She went outside. She told me subsequently that she went outside to go to the commuter rail train station to go to work in the suburbs, and she noticed something in the streets, in the train station, in the train. Something, like something disquieting. People frantically checking their cell phones. And this is Spain. This isn't Bushwick. What I do want to say is Wednesday, the day after the election, was a holiday here in Madrid. Not in all of Spain, just in Madrid. So I could stay up really late, and I didn't have to go to work. And I do want to start out by saying, if you had to work on Wednesday, hats off to you. Really. You have my respect. If I had to go to work, if I had to get up and go to the salt mine on Wednesday morning, I have no idea how I would have done it. Really. It's strange that the greatest hope that many of us are left with now is to hope that the winner was lying, is to hope that he doesn't fulfill his campaign promises, that he was running a number on everybody. We're all knocking on wood and crossing our fingers and toes in the hopes that he's such a swindler that he's really not going to fulfill any of the campaign promises. Here's hoping, I hope that the media, as it will not, learn some kind of a lesson from what happened. We hear the term adequately, I think, false equivalencies. The false equivalency between negative aspects potentially that Hillary Clinton might suffer from, or liabilities of Hillary Clinton, and they're equated with the liabilities of Donald Trump as if they were equal in number or in significance. And we've seen so many times, I follow the media in both countries. I follow the media in Europe, in Spain, and I follow the media in the States. I've got here a Spanish newspaper from the Monday before the election, which is really cool because, as you can see, they're so unbiased, and I think this is Spanish, so I can have it in paper. But I think it's very, very similar to a lot of things that were happening in the U.S. media. You've got the caricatures, which are exactly the same size, which demonstrates how unbiased this newspaper is. And, of course, it's got elections in the United States, Clinton-Trump, duel between two unpopular candidates. That's true. Two unpopular candidates whose heads are of similar measurements are dueling each other. And on the other side, conveniently, to help you to make heads or tails of the election that's going on, they've provided you with a list of the 5 liabilities which Hillary Clinton drags to the election, and the 5 burdens that might cause people to vote against Hillary, and the 5 burdens, liabilities that Trump brings to the election. And Trump's liabilities are, you can imagine, racism, misogyny, no experience. These are his liabilities. He's anti-system, and he's on trial for fraud and has suffered a number of bankruptcies in his professional career. These are Trump's liabilities. Hillary's liabilities. This is interesting. She's investigated by the FBI for the email thing. She's weak, and I had to get into the paragraph to see what weak means, and it actually refers to the flu symptoms that she suffered when she had pneumonia and had to leave the 9/11 commemoration early. And 3, 4, and 5 in the Hillary list are kind of like, like lax whimsy, or not warm and charming. The third thing is elitist. That she 30 years dedicated to mainstream politics. That's a big liability that she brings. This would translate as dispassionate. She's dispassionate, which corresponds to misogyny on the Donald Trump side of the Donald Trump column, and without charisma. So, career politician, dispassionate, without charisma, corresponds to bankruptcies and fraud, ineptitude and no experience, and sexism on the Donald Trump thing. But 5 and 5. I was talking to my wife, and I said, I almost would have respected this column more if there had been like 5 Trump liabilities and 19 or 20 or 21 Hillary liabilities. It would have been something to talk about. It would have given us a basis for discussion. Whereas this simply indicates that they decided long beforehand that it was going to be exactly the same number. It allows journalism to not do its job, to not, evaluate with a reasonable metric what are a person's strengths and liabilities, what will help a person be president of the United States, and what might be a hindrance to that person being the leader of the United States of America.